Windows 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations. They call themselves the Bad Batch.
You know, next Bad Batch episode is the last time I'll be in the studio.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another sick episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah,
I'm Drew.
And I'm Andrew.
and we are back with Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 14, War Mantle.
Bum, bum, bum.
He's on his phone. I'm sorry. Ooh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Dude. Okay.
Are we
How
not
many times is it gonna?
important
No. First of all, I wasn't. Wow. Okay, hold on. For everyone that's listening that can see that, I was responding to the Twitch chat.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Tanner, who is in the Twitch chat, said, and I quote, "I had a teacher in high school that always had food while he went to the bathroom.
ew.
He was chomping a whole apple once while at the urinal next to me, and just goes, 'How's it going, handsome?'
Oh, heck no.
He said it every time he saw me. And he said it was the one time I hated it. And I said, Tanner, no, please tell me that wasn't a thing. He's like, true story.
See.
Oh,
now
okay,
to our
okay.
audio-
Oh, wait, hold up. First of all,
Okay. Context. This is in reference to things we talked about before the recording on the
Yeah,
live
we were
stream.
having a discussion about how
Okay.
no,
normal
we
it
don't have to
is.
tell them. We don't have to tell them.
No, if you want an exclusive behind the scenes pre-game,
Yeah, this is
post-game-
listen. This is behind the scenes for all of our listeners. Okay, Drew and I are both married,
Correct.
and we both have
Wives.
we both well, yeah, but we both have the agreement that and the understanding that it is normal for our spouses to be in the restroom while we're using the restroom or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that has come because we have only had one bedroom apartments and one bathroom apartments our whole marriage so far, almost 5 years.
Congrats,
And
by the way.
Thank you. And it's a little bit less than a month, but we're getting there.
Oh, wow.
And then, so for me, it's normal because like we're getting ready for work. One person has to get ready while the other person's doing their business, and that's like a relatively normal thing. Jeremiah is like completely weirded out about it,
Correct.
and so that is why Tanner said what he said, and I draw the line at food. You don't take food in the restroom.
No, and you
I don't care who you are. I don't
talk
care what
to
your
peop-
status is. You don't take food in there.
Also,
But anyways, that's it. That's all we're talking
that's
about.
just as creepy as when you went to the Metrodome growing up,
Okay,
Minnesota thing.
That is terrible.
and you, if you guys are listening and you're not
like-
from Minnesota, growing up in the 2000, whenever the Metrodome was a thing, they literally had troughs where troughs.
Troughs.
So it's
Dude,
just
that's-
one long thing.
One long
Yeah,
thing, and
that
you
happened
whipped
to
it out
me-
and you go to the bathroom, and
That
it's
happened to me
so awkward.
at the Orpheum downtown.
Oh, they still have that, I
What?
think. Yeah,
At the Orpheum?
yeah,
Bro,
they
had
do.
that at the Orpheum. When I went to see Phantom of the Opera with my wife, I took a bathroom break during the intermission. First of all, I waited like 10 minutes to use the restroom,
With
and
a
then I got
trough.
in there and I was like, "No, I am waiting for a stall."
Yeah, it's
So-
awkward.
My roommate, one of my roommates in college, said that down in Iowa they would have this like a circle that everyone went around. So not even a trough where like you can just look straight ahead and not see anything.
It's like you're seeing it. You're
If you
gonna look.
straight ahead. You're gonna see something you don't want to see.
All right. So, anyways,
Star Wars, Bad Batch, War Mantle.
And it's taking everything about me to not say anything about Tanner's thing. We're just gonna.
No, we're not-
move on.
we're not- no, we're
Let's
done.
move
We're done.
on.
we're
Tanner,
done. All right.
I'm sorry.
So we're talking about the Bad Batch, and
So-
we're here. We're doing it right now. Here we go.
So what were you guys' overall thoughts of this episode?
I'm sorry. I just looked down at the chat. Enough of the pee talk. Please no pee talk. Okay, we're done.
Okay,
done
we're
with
done.
the bathroom talk. Okay.
War Mantle.
War Mantle. Okay, so I told Drew when we started this episode on the live stream that we just did the watch party. I was like, Drew, like I know we were both talking last week. You're like, oh man, we hope this is gonna like start picking up towards the season finale, and it didn't. I was like, but today's the day. Today is the day. So it's it was a doozy. It was good. It was really, really, really good for me. There's a specific musical moment that we'll get to later in the episode.
I think there was two for me, but yeah.
For me, there was one specific.
Well, there's that one.
Yeah, that like.
I don't even know if Jeremiah remembers, but there's that one.
I immediately, like, I haven't had a moment in a Star Wars television show quite yet where, like,
Wow.
I immediately
Cartoon?
I mean, there's been slight moments, but, like, I've
The
never had a moment
Mandalorian.
I've never had a moment like this where I immediately recognize a callback this way. Where like subconsciously something inside of me went, whoa. Let's take a step back. This is different. This is a callback to something else. And like I remember geeking out on the couch with my wife about it.
Tanner said in all caps in chat, I heard it and yelled.
Yeah, see, exactly. See,
Yeah.
he knows what we're talking about.
Of course.
And if you're a fan of A New Hope, and Jeremiah doesn't have an excuse because this part doesn't happen in the bad part of the movie based on
True.
his standards.
He should remember this part.
So, anyways, there's a musical moment that I thought was absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Really, really nice callback to something else, which we'll talk about. CG stuff was gorgeous as always. The setting, like, dude, the visuals of this planet were just top notch. Because I'm a sucker for a good forest. I love a good forest. Walking through the forest, looking at a forest, writing in music inspired by the forest.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good to me.
Now, Andrew, every time I see a forest, a little part of me gets a little scared that I might see like a goat or a donkey.
Like a normal goat. Don't go out to the normal forest then, because it runs a really good chance of you actually seeing one of those two things.
That's fair as long as it's on Earth. But there was a part I was like a little hesitant. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Ewoks. That's all I have to say.
if you had seen a goat in the background of this episode,
I would have lost it, dude. You know I would have lost it.
Drew said Star Wars is over. I'm done.
I would have threw
He's
a fit.
quitting the podcast. He's quitting Star Wars.
I don't know about all that, but it would be bad.
No, but this was a fantastic episode for me. I'm confident in my rating. I'm confident that my rating's not going to change. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a 9. Maybe like a 9.2.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was good. It was really good. And this, like, it felt like things are finally picking up. And it also helped for me personally that we had a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
I like that I didn't get resolution.
Right.
You know, like that's good. That's good for me. That's good. Like that's good storytelling for me, keeping me on the edge of my seat, keeping me in suspense. That's one of my favorite types of storytelling, especially when I get it in the moment and I'm not binge watching a television show, because obviously having to wait a week versus having to wait 4 seconds is a little bit different. But
right.
you know, yeah. So I enjoyed it. Drew, Jeremiah.
Drew.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. The cliffhanger at the end was really good. The whole I love the whole story, and it's gonna bring us even more towards stuff with the whole Rebels. Like, it's gonna tie in Rebels a lot, which I'm really excited about. I don't know. Overall, this was a really good episode, and this is an episode that we're hoping that last week would have been. But you know what? It's okay. We got this week.
I think I would like to go on record in saying I think 4 episodes was too much to ask for. And I admit that. I take it back.
I don't know, though, because the last 4 episodes of the last one was good.
Yeah, but they had structured those into 4-episode arcs intentionally, whereas I think 4 episodes would have stuck out too much because of the way the rest of the season went. Because we had only had at most a 2-episode arc. So if all of a sudden we get to episode 13 and then it's just this, it would probably seem too separated to a lot of people as its own story. So I think 3 episodes is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I'm excited for what's coming next week, but not to say that I want to skip over this week. I'm really pumped for this breakdown episode. It's gonna be good. Don't turn your dials, folks. You want to be
Jeremiah,
here for that.
Yeah.
what'd you think?
So the first thing I want to say,
Don't do this to me.
no,
Oh.
it's not that. It's not nothing like that. Don't have to worry about that for tonight's episode.
Okay.
Thank the maker.
But the TK troopers
Uh-huh.
looked almost exactly like the trooper design we had on our merch, and that is why I think we got taken down.
Oh.
Actually,
they're very, very similar, and like
Yeah.
it's spooky how
Yeah.
maybe Matt
this
was prophetic.
Mm,
He called something before it happened.
chat, I'm gonna pull it up on the stream.
and so like I saw it, I'm like, why does it look so familiar?
Dang, you're right, Jeremiah.
Because
wow.
the design that we had, like it had like almost like a facial expression for the
Yeah.
mouth,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and these TK troopers had that same like expression on their helmets, and I was and like
Mm-hmm.
the head part of it was more like bulky and smooth,
Wow.
and that was also similar, I think, to our design.
Did you
And
pull
so-
it up, Drew?
I did real quick.
Can you share your? Oh wait, yeah, you can share your screen.
Yeah,
on
share your
Discord.
screen real
You guys
quick.
wanna see
Let
it?
everyone see it who's
It's kind
following
of
the
hard to
Twitch.
see because it's on the
Oh,
About
yeah.
Us. Because I can't click the link because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's fine.
But, yeah.
But yeah, so I just thought that was kind of eerie that that happened.
I think it's funny that these stormtroopers looked better and more efficient looking. I don't want to talk about how they performed, but they looked better and more menacing and more efficient looking than the regular stormtroopers.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
it's this one right here, chat, if you're watching. Yeah, that is definitely. That's it. Funny as heck. Now that you.
Yeah, so we have a comment in the Twitch chat from DeView Twist. I heard the TK troopers were based on the Ralph McQuarrie.
Which is
original
kind
concept,
of what
yes.
Matt kind of based his on.
Yeah,
So,
these
makes
are very
sense.
similar to the Ralph McQuarrie artwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did really like this episode. It was just jam packed with a lot of things that I know a lot of people know more details about things. Like you guys mentioned the music. Like I didn't catch the music stuff as much as you guys, but like there's so many things
Yeah.
that
This.
like apparently like one of the clone commandos was Torch. Is that
Scorch.
Scorch. So like he's from the game or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's also has the appearance when we see the commandos in Clone Wars once. He's part of the Delta Squad or something like.
He is part of Delta Squad because Delta Squad is the squad from the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had their one little appearance in the Clone Wars, and that's
Yep.
the same one. So, like I wouldn't have caught that unless someone told me that. And so,
Those. I mean, I think with everything with Dave Filoni, like you love those Easter eggs that he gives us, right? Like it's so nice. I mean, we're getting that a lot in the Mandalorian series. I know that's gonna be like all freaking Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. Like we know that's like all of it's gonna be Easter eggs, right?
right.
And that's, I mean, that's what he does best, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
We should jump into scene by scene now.
Let's do it.
So we're on a forest at night, and we see a clone trooper running through the forest being chased. And what's the name of those little dog things?
I call them the Tusken Raider pups. That's
Chat-
not their official name.
Chat, help us out.
So the Tuscan Raider pups.
Hey, there you go.
Until someone tells us otherwise.
So they're they're chasing this trooper who we don't know who it is. At first, I thought it was Hauser for a second, but when I saw the hair, then it wasn't. But
Yeah.
um,
David in the chat says massives. Massiffs. Massives.
Tanner said no S at the end.
Or massive. Well, it's plural. Massives.
Yeah.
unless
It could
it's
technically be
massives.
plural. It could be massive with plural. It could be plural.
But
both
it could
ways.
be like a deer. There's
like moose
there's no deers. It's just
or
one.
moosin
Or moose.
or moosei. That's not right.
Nope.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact: do you guys know what the plural of latte is?
Latte.
It's latte.
Latte da.
So if you have two lattes, it's latte.
If you have two lattes, you're gonna be jacked.
Or
I wouldn't
not,
know.
depending.
Well, yeah, or not. That's actually
If
true.
I
It depends.
were to have a sip of a latte, I'd be up for
No,
3
you
days
would
straight.
not. It's milk. You would drink milk. If you go to Starbucks and get a latte right now, you would drink the first sip would be
it's
milk.
like milk. It's like milk and maybe a shot of espresso.
If
you're
you go to
lucky.
Starbucks and like I want a latte, you're gonna drink milk and then you'll be like this is nothing, and then you get the end and then you'll shake. But if you drink first sip, you'd be fine.
Well, I hate milk, and I haven't had a glass of milk in over 20 years. So
Wait, how do you eat your cereal?
I don't eat cereal. And if I do buy cereal, I just eat it dry as like a snack, like
Oh.
puppy chow.
Anyways,
All right. Well, that took a sad turn.
How's that
Jeremiah,
a
please.
sense?
no.
Cereal is
Life,
joy.
I enjoy eating cereal, but I just eat it plain as a snack.
because you're not lactose, because
I
you
just think I
love
think
ice
milk tastes-
cream.
Right. I think milk tastes terrible. And milk is for babies, so
I mean, to be fair, we are the only species on the planet
Who drinks other people's milk?
who drinks other species' milk consistently. So
Yep.
I guess that's a valid point. Anyways,
Jeremiah's not a baby, so
we're all over the place today. Everyone.
we are. This is
Wait, Jeremiah, what's your dry cereal of choice for snacks?
you've
Don't
been
say
getting those
Raisin Bran.
cocos.
Don't you say Raisin
No,
Bran.
no. It's like those cocoa
that's
puffs.
not my number one choice. But I do enjoy Raisin Bran because I like raisins and I like
I love raisins.
just plain.
Do you not like raisins?
cereal.
Either?
So
I like raisins.
So I don't know. Like Cocoa Puffs are pretty good. Like
Okay.
Honey Nut Cheerios pretty good.
Okay.
Ooh,
Peanut butter.
Honey Bunches of Oats. Whew. That's really good. That gets if you get the vanilla kind,
Oh, that's
Wow.
a banger.
that's a banger. You want to know why? Because it tastes like fortune cookies. So if you
Oh,
like
you're
fortune
right.
cookies, you're eating just like straight fortune cookies without the fortune. So you're just
Well,
eating cookies basically.
Have you
But-
tried the Cinnamon Toast Crunch churros?
No, but I do enjoy Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon
The
Toast Crunch
taste
is
you can
goat.
see.
It's the goat.
It's the goat. Ooh.
I prefer, for me, it's Life all the way.
Life, is pretty
Life
good.
cereal is my favorite
Cinnamon
cereal.
Life is pretty good.
True. Pumpkin Life.
I haven't
Stop.
had that.
No.
What?
We don't do pumpkin.
I haven't tried it. Sorry.
I think you'd like it, Jeremiah.
How do you guys feel about grape nuts?
They're pretty
Okay,
good.
we're gonna move on.
We pushed a button right there. Where
He said grape nuts. No, we're not doing that.
As all of our listeners turned off this episode.
Well,
But
in the chat, I'm reading Quaker Oatmeal Square, Cinnamon,
Ooh.
Count Chocula, Crispix. We've got
Waffle-
Raisin Bran
Waffle Crisp,
slaps. Anyways,
but yes. So the clone is running through the forest, and while he's doing that, he drops like what we find out is a beacon. I thought it was a explosive, but it was just like a beacon.
I just thought it was an LED.
I thought it was a bomb.
I thought it was a TV remote.
Okay.
Okay. But it wasn't. It was a beacon. So that happens, and they start trying to stun him, and I thought it was cool how he got stunned in the leg, but he kept going. Like,
Yeah.
so like I wonder if that's a thing where you only pass out if it hits you in the chest. Like if that would happen to anyone, like it was just like
I mean, that makes sense.
Or he was just really
No, no, no. I
determined.
mean, it makes sense because okay, so obviously tasers don't do this. The same thing. They don't knock you out. Contrary to popular belief,
They don't.
taser doesn't knock you out in real life. It doesn't happen.
Nope.
No matter what the movies tell you.
Does not.
But the larger the spread, hitting center mass and splitting the belt line has more of an effect than if you get both prongs in the leg.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing as the stun mode on a blaster is somewhat similar to that world's, the Star Wars Galaxy's taser, that would make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. That was like the first thing. That's the first time we've ever seen that, I think, in Star Wars. Someone
Right.
get stunned and not actually fall
down.
right away. So it was really cool. And he was like limping along, and I thought it was really cool. I liked it a lot.
And so, but eventually they trapped him, and he gets completely stunned and captured. So it's like, oh, what is this all about? Like, what's this episode going to be? Which was interesting. And so then right after that, it goes to the Bad Batch in their ship, and they're en route on a mission from Sid that we find out. But again, Omega, she's working on Gonki,
Good old Gong Gong.
and she sees Hunter twirling a tool of some sort, like really well in his fingers, and she tries to do it herself. So I thought it was just, she's always trying to copy people and learn things, and so I thought that was a little cool detail. But then we hear immediately after that they're getting a transmission from Rex, and so this is like, oh boy, I was excited about this. 'Cause
I was pumped.
We were thinking like we're probably not going to see him again, maybe like we wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
we didn't see him again for this season at least.
I don't know if this counts though.
I mean, we saw.
Well, I think. Well, we'll get into that later.
Okay. All right.
But
all right.
yeah, so we see Rex, and he's like in desperate like mode right now. He's like, I need you to get my friend. Like he's in desperate need. He's blah blah. But I gotta go. I'll send you to coordinates. And so he's in the middle of some sort of mission on his own because he's on the run. And so like now I'm extra curious about Rex and what he's doing, and I feel like they're doing the details that they have shown about what he's doing. I feel like it's opening the door to an actual season of some sort. Like,
Ooh.
I think it'd be cool if like
Rex has his own show.
has his own show, but it's like
That'd be fire. Live
Like a-
action.
live action.
I know.
Uh,
That'd be cool though if
but-
they did.
But
but
can
they're
they get a
already-
rom-com? Rex
No.
is a nose.
Stop. Just stop.
no,
I mean, they could.
They-
we don't need any more romance in Star Wars. Like,
I mean, if it was done well, I think it would work. Han and Leia, that was done well, relatively.
Lost Star, the best.
Still
I
alright.
just feel like we're gonna end up getting like a scene where they're both in the bathroom together, and I don't want that. Like,
Okay, we're not.
I don't
stop.
want that in Star Wars. Like, it's gross. Like, I think
Oh,
not-
Jeremiah.
I don't come to Star Wars to watch that kind of stuff. I just want the Force and good
Well,
and evil.
we're not
and
getting the Force. We haven't got the Force at all this season.
We saw Caleb and his master. So we did see the Force.
True, in the beginning, that's fair.
Not since then, though.
Not since then.
But yes, so then the funny scene after this is where they're debating all the different point of views on what they should do with this mission, and Wrecker Echo has a great point, Tech has a great point, the kid has a good point. Like he's just going with the flow. That was just a funny like back and forth, but they decide they are going to help this friend of Rex who is on the run. Did it say like he's been captured or just there's a beacon only?
Beacon only.
I think it was just Beacon.
Right.
Because that was
So-
like the whole point when they
Right, right.
land.
Yeah. And so they go, decide we're gonna go investigate, and they are just hoping they can do it quick and get back on the mission they got from Sid. So after this, we go back to Camino, which I was excited for, and it's in the middle of clones being evacuated from Camino. The Empire has ended the contract that the Republic made with the Kaminoans, and so they're taking their clones off the site and off the planet. And so we also see Crosshair and Rampart talking, and I think Crosshair's like, "What about the Kaminoans?" And Rampart's like, "We have our orders." And so we kind of see a little bit of that later on in the episode of what that may entail, but I'm expecting something much bigger and possibly something that they copied from my fan fiction from season 2 finale. But we'll talk about that later. But yes, and so it's very scary and ominous. We see some cadet troopers, cadet clones or whatever, like they're little like Boba Fett age that we kind of see them in Clone Wars type of thing.
Master Skywalker. That's
Huh?
that's the first thing I thought.
That's
He thought there was going to be a scene similar to that. There's not.
it could be
Well, there probably
Not this
was. We
episode.
didn't see it. Let's be real.
right. And so, and then it goes to Lama Su talking to Nala Se, and how they're just nervous about what's going to happen. And so Lama Su's definitely scared about what is going to happen because they no longer have any options at their thing because the contract is broke and the Empire's leaving, and so they weren't able to get back Omega to use her as a source for more clones. At least that's what was kind of assumed, and so they have no power, no cards to play, so they're scared. But it goes back to the planet wall, which is named Darrow, by the way. And so it was kind of like a uninhabited planet with nothing really on it, I think they said. So they thought it was weird that they were going to this planet. But they find the beacon, and so they start trying to track this individual. I see this. I said I kind of mentioned this earlier, like before the show, but I had this great joke plan for right now because I thought the planet was named Dora. So I was like, oh, they're tracking. We could say maybe they're Dora Explorers right now. And I was like, oh no, I got my name. I was gonna get the horn, but it doesn't matter. I got the planet name wrong. It's Darrow, not.
I was gonna say
Dora.
I don't know if Andrew would have gave you the horn on that one.
Oh, he would have. In the moment, he would have gotten it. But yes, we see Hunter at his best, doing his tracking skills and whatnot, and they get to a mountain, and he's like, "There's something inside that mountain," and so he can sense it.
I was really hoping that you're going to bring a little bit of the EU Thrawn trilogy into this with Wayland.
Oh, that would have been sick.
And is that a person, a thing?
Jeremiah, we went over this story.
I don't remember anything
It's
about
the
it.
mountain, the Emperor's Secret Storehouse. So obviously it couldn't have been the same thing. I get that, but like I was hoping that there's going to be at least a little bit of a callback to it, but it's fine.
All right. So at this moment, Hunter says for Wrecker and Omega to go back to their ship so that he and Echo and Tech can go scout out and figure out what's going on. And so, which makes sense because Wrecker isn't good with heights, and they were climbing a really steep part like it was nothing, and I don't think Wrecker would have been able to scale the side of that mountain that well. So it makes sense, and Omega probably wouldn't be able to. She's too small to kind of like have long reaches and hold her weight up and stuff for a long distance. So there's that. But they get to the top, or what would be like towards the top, or whatever, and they find.
Nothing. Keep going.
I was like, what the heck was that?
I think Drew was trying to rewatch the episode on his phone for reference and had his volume on.
um, uh, where was I? Oh, okay. They get to the top of the mountain, and they realize it's like a big facility, like big opening, kind of like similar to like the I don't know, the holes on Coruscant where it's all the different levels.
Or Utapau.
Utapau also. What
Yeah.
what would that be called? Like what do they call those in Star Wars? Is there a name?
Holes.
Holes? Okay.
Burrows.
Burrows?
I don't know. Cylindrical underground cities.
Shafts? Is that it?
Yeah, you could argue for that.
All right, so they find this giant shaft going down into the thing, and so they're scouting out. They're looking. They got their Star Wars binoculars, and they find a landing pad, and there's a bunch of, right away you think, oh, a bunch of clones, but then they realize it's different armor, and so that's when I realized, okay, this is probably not clones. This is probably stormtroopers, because we know the episode name is War Mantle, which is about replacing the clones with enlisted troopers. So, like, okay, this makes sense. But we also see clone commandos, which is fun.
Which, by the way, when Echo said the clone's number in the shuttle earlier in the episode, did you get it right away?
I did not,
I didn't either.
which I should have, because that person is in my fan fiction, and I used that number before I said the name in my fan fiction.
Wow. That's
But-
funny. I got the CC. I was like, oh, that's, wait a second. And then I Googled it, and then I realized who it was.
Right. And so now, before he said his name, I could hear in the voice that it was Gregor. But
Wow, spoilers.
did I just hear a Tusken Raider?
That's from the stream.
No, I think you heard a cat.
What? Who's cat?
No, just keep
What?
going.
I think it was a combination of me and Drew. I heard both of our mics because my cat meowed right into outside the door.
I definitely heard a Tusken Raider.
What's the stream? Just keep going.
Okay, but so yes, they see all the troopers, and immediately Hunter's like, "This is too big of an operation. We can't infiltrate this place on our own and get this guy out. Like, we can't do this." But let's see. Echo, he's still arguing, like, no, like, we have to do this. And so, because, like, he was basically in that same situation where no one knew that he was captured, and he didn't think anyone would ever come for him. So, like, the fact that someone's been captured and they know that he's there, like, he's like, we have to help him, because we don't know if they're going to turn that person into someone like I was, where they were just used for a reason. So he does eventually convince Hunter out to continue, and so they jump on top of a elevator and go down. And I thought it was cool how they jumped off it and, like, grabbed on the wall, like,
Yeah.
like, perfect timing. I thought that was cool, especially with Echo. He just has a little wrench for an arm, like how he was able to jump and hold on to the wall, but whatever. And so they get in there, they hack into one of the computer consoles, and says that there are 1,000 TK troopers. And so then immediately that's confirmation that these are not clones. And so that's a lot of troopers, 1,000 of them. But then they make their way.
Well, and 50 clone commandos.
Yes, that also.
That's a
Can't forget
lot
that.
of commandos.
That's a lot of commandos, considering that most of them, at least the first batch, died on Geonosis. So they were busy making those commandos.
Yeah. And so they track Gregor to where his cell is, or I should say, they don't know it's Gregor yet, but they go in there,
Spoilers.
they break him out, break in, and then he says, And they're like, "Are you CC whatever?" Like, well, it depends on who asking. It's like Rex sent us. Oh, then yes, I'm Gregor. And so like I heard before he said his name, like I knew in his voice, I heard that twang or whatever that he has. Okay, that's definitely Gregor, which I was excited for. So
Yeah, for sure.
and so I thought it was kind of like a stupid. Gosh, I got this fly like going all over my screen, but you can't see it on the camera because it's like below the camera. But I keep getting attacked by this fly. Sorry.
Shoe fly don't bother me.
I don't think he understands that.
Well,
Um,
it's worth the shot.
but this kind of like it wasn't necessarily a montage, but they tripped the alarm and they're fighting all these TK troopers and they just kind of suck. And it was just funny that they kept coming, they just kept getting shot like easily, and then like the one where like they stand at both sides of the hallway and then one guy just runs by and they shoot him in the back. Like it was just funny that they clearly, and as part of the structure of the episode, and one of the themes that we'll get to, but like the clones are clearly better than the troopers here in this situation, and so like they kind of like made that comment, and then Gregor's like, well, yeah, I was training him, but I didn't teach him everything. Like that would be stupid. So like Gregor might seem like he's a little out there, but he knows what he's doing. Like,
Well, I mean, he was a commando.
or that too. Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty big fat. Also, before we leave this moment, this is the lovely musical moment
The best moment.
during this montage. So the music that they were playing was a slightly modified version of the music that they played during a lot of the stormtrooper chase scenes in the Death Star in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Same music, almost.
When Chewie and Han were like running and chasing
Especially,
them.
yeah, there's that shot where it's Chewie and Han running away, and it's like flashing back and forth between them and the stormtroopers running after them. Like it's that music, and it made me really, really happy.
You didn't notice that, Jeremiah?
No.
Oh, when I heard that, I freaked out right away.
But why would they do that?
It's the same like sort of scene.
Yeah, it's similar.
It's just a
They're running-
callback, man. It's
yeah,
so
I mean, it
good.
looks,
It
the
was
hallways
so
look
amazing.
super imperial. They're running and doing stuff against stormtroopers,
It was
and it's
so
kind of
amazing.
like it's kind of like a stormtrooper motif.
Yeah.
It was like saying we've arrived, like things have officially begun. But
War
I got it
mantle.
immediately, and I got it was like the Leonardo DiCaprio
Oh,
gif
I was
of him
pumped.
pointing at the TV, except I was yelling.
Yeah. Well, and
More or
like
less.
Tanner was saying, he even yelled. Like it was so awesome. I was so happy
Yeah.
for that moment.
Well, I'll have to go back and compare and contrast that
Dude,
scene.
it made me feel like a kid again.
For
Because I
real,
watched
it did
A
it
New
for
Hope
me.
so many times. Like that motif is embedded into my memory.
Also, just if you're listening to this, go check out the watch party and go check out that reaction I had. I was pretty pumped. I was really pumped.
All
Yeah,
right.
another thing that I just saw down in the chat is the really cool hand-to-hand combat scene.
Mm-hmm. With Hunter
So-
1v1.
Yeah, against Commando, and he won.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
All right. And so, Omega is. So then it flashes to Omega and Wrecker, and they're just kind of hanging out. They're not really doing much. But so they're just kind of waiting. And then then it goes back to the Bad Batch trying to escape, and this is kind of like an interesting thing that I thought was, the best thing that they portrayed in this episode for the transition to the stormtroopers was, because they're kind of saying like how the troopers suck, but like, there's something, I think it was Gregor said something like there's like 1,000 of them or whatever, but Hunter's like, well, numbers aren't everything. But immediately when the clones troopers are being outnumbered, that's when they're starting to lose. and it's very the Empire was very let's throw as many bodies at these people as we can and overwhelm them, and that's how we're going to win. And from that moment on, for the whole rest of the episode, we see that where they just throw everything they got to stop, just a handful of troopers. And I thought that was just very interesting because that's kind of what the Empire does is by enlisting an unlimited basically amount of people throughout the galaxy, you can just for any mission just overwhelm the situation with the troopers and just take over and or destroy or whatever, and that's how they're going to be successful. So yes,
Yeah, they definitely switched to like a quantity over quality
yeah,
mentality, which in some cases is better. In some military situations, but then in other cases it's not. Like, especially when you're talking about coffee, if you lose the intentionality behind it and you go with quantity over quality,
It's not
it doesn't
good.
produce as good of a cup. And I
True.
think coffee shops that do the quality over quantity and take that time being intentional with the way they roast their beans and the cup of coffee that it makes, they go the extra mile in my case. And it just so happens that the sponsor of today's episode is one of those coffee shops, and it's Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. So let's take a quick moment and listen to a message from them. Hey everyone.
Ooh, that was so sexy.
I'm pleased to tell you that
I'm
trying.
That was good.
I'm trying. I was
Don't-
waiting for my moment, dude.
That was good.
Don't know anything about Wesley Andrews.
I kind of got a little chills. Like that was good.
Award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
like a cold brew.
Like a cold brew chill. That was actually a good reference, Jeremiah.
I don't know what that is really, so I couldn't tell you. But
Hey, but that was a good reference.
Unfortunately, we're all being negatively affected by this virus. To view twist. Wow, that wasn't as bad a segue as I thought it'd be. See? It's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Best
Best
one of
one.
the week. Thanks, David. There's only one other one to beat. So
When you start a new subscription at wesleyandrews.cc, you'll get 50% off your first purchase. I can't think of a better deal. Get 50% off, support a local Minneapolis coffee shop.
ooh, thanks Simon. That was very wizard of me.
In the words
Ooh.
of Emperor Palpatine,
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, you
Jeremiah?
guys didn't even know. You didn't even know we were talking about coffee. All of a sudden, we're talking about the Empire, and then you're like, "Wait a second, this dude's talking about coffee. What the heck?"
You know what makes a good segue, though, Andrew? When you don't mention it.
No. What I just didn't take away from my segue. Because the moment's already passed. I already made it great.
Okay.
Anyways, Jeremiah's like, "All right,
okay,
well,
to
can
segue
we
back
keep
into
going?"
why you're here.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So as they're they're on the run from the TK troopers and the was it just one commando or was it a couple commandos that were in the chase?
Well, they beat up one, and then there was another one, and they beat him up, and then there was the one on the other side of the elevator.
That like jumped across or whatever.
Yeah, which we haven't got to yet. But that was a really cool moment. And then I'd say there's like 5 or 6 total, including the one that got yeeted pretty hard.
Towards the end in the
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool how the one clone commando took like 5 or 6 stun shots and was able to keep going.
Oh, that was the one that did the elevator thing, the stunt
Yeah.
maneuver. Yeah. Which
Yes.
is nice because
Now, do you think that's the armor that did that, or do you think it's just the
well, they
the
for
strength
sure had
of
better
the-
armor. I think it was a combination of both because they had better training, way better training. They had more rigorous training, so they could withstand more, and they had better armor. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was better at energy displacement.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then I think it was right after, was it at this moment or just after this is when Gregory just gets wrecked in the chest by like 2 or 3 shots.
It was by that same commando. So for everyone that doesn't quite remember what we're talking about, they're going up to the elevator. They get into the elevator. They're going up to the top to be picked up by H&M. and they they get to the top floor and they open the elevator, and there's a commando and like a bunch of stormtroopers standing there, and they like Hunter and Gregor kick the commando back and then jump out of the way as they start firing. The elevator starts going down. So the commando does he jump on the elevator? He jumps on the top of the elevator.
There's different groups going after the elevator. I think the one that jumped across was like
It was the same commando. He had the same color scheme.
that was outside the doors.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he like jumps out, jumps like swings around the bar. So he jumps down. The elevator lands. He rolls across it, and jumps down and around into the opening, like the window opening on the side. It was super slick.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I was like, "That is the commandos that we get in the novels and in the games." Like I was like, "Yeah,
That
this is good."
slide.
Yeah.
But then it's at this scene is where Gregor gets hit 2 or 3 times in the chest, and he's perfectly fine. Like
He makes a joke about it too.
yeah, 'cause, like I got blown up and survived, and so that's the last time we actually see Gregor. Was
He makes a joke about it. Yeah.
he's like when he explodes with a bunch of what was the
Was it Tabana or
Tabana
Tabana canisters?
no, what was no, it was like the red canisters or red detonators or something.
It was fuel.
Was it fuel?
Yeah.
Okay,
I just don't remember what it was.
but he
Like,
gets
specifically.
blown up.
Oh, Rhydonium. That's
Yeah.
Thank you, Simon.
Yes.
Rhydonium. Yeah.
Yes, Rhydonium. And so he's like, well, I got blown up and I survived. So we don't know how he got off that planet and how he survived and what happened to him after that. And, you know, Rex earlier in the episode says that one of his old friends. And so we don't know how their relationship is what it is because we don't see it. And so I don't know if it was just off-screen stuff that happened after that arc, which would have been because that arc was in end of season 5, towards the end of season 5, I think, mid to late season 5, and so sometime after that, maybe him and Rex were able to meet somehow. Technically, Gregor was part of the 212th, which was Obi-Wan's thing, and so the 501st and the 212th worked together a lot, and so maybe that's how they just interacted with each other that way, but I don't know. I just wish we kind of knew that backstory a little bit. But yes, so they kind of get locked into a room, and then the only way out is through a vent in this ceiling, and then they say we can go out an exhaust port type of thing. And all right, so they blow it up, they go, and then they call for the help from Omega and Wrecker. And so Omega, she's flying, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, she flies now.
She flies now.
She flies now?
She does, yeah.
Awesome. I'm good. I'm happy for her. And so so she's trying to get to the shaft opening on the side of the mountain close enough while they're getting shot at by all these troopers going into the vents as well. And so she's able to get Tech and Gregor. And was that because there's just 4 of them, right?
Correct.
So Tech and Gregor, they're able to jump on, but then they have to pull away because they're getting everything's being sent at them with lats and
V-wings and
all that
Yeah.
stuff. And so they have to. She's like, Omega's like, I can't hold it any longer, and that's okay. And then Tech takes it, and he takes over,
It's
and
like,
he does.
it's okay. This has been adequate, and he
Yeah,
takes
like,
over from there. Yeah.
like that's like the best compliment you're gonna get from Tech. So take what you can.
Yeah.
But so he's doing his great maneuvering and doing it, flying around, trying to get it back all the way around to get the other two. And so they H&M, they get hit and they're lost their shields and they're lost engine power. And who comes to the rescue? Gonki comes because Omega helped him because
Heck
he was
yeah.
defective and he couldn't hold the charge, but now he can. And so they lost power, but Gonki was able to plug in and rescue the day. So in the Discord, it's Gonki or Clink, and I've never voted.
Oh, here
Don't
it
do this.
comes.
Don't do
But
this
Here it
here.
comes.
my vote is going to Gonki because he saved the
Wow.
day. He was clutch.
He also didn't know then after that.
And this is the first time I think we've ever seen a Gonk droid do what it's supposed to do. And so he's
Yeah.
being who he was created to be. He saved.
And I feel like a lot of that has to do with Omega because she was working on him so much.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so it's really not Gonk. It's Omega.
Okay.
So Clink still sweeps.
no, Gonk,
Clink sweeps.
because he walked into the cockpit when they were losing power, so he knew he needed to step up, and he stepped forward. So, my vote is for Gonki. So they get,
It's okay to be wrong, and we accept you here for that. So
yeah, I get that a lot here for some reason, but
Stop. Oh my gosh.
so yes, so they're all powered up, they're good to go, and they're able to circle around. I'm like, so this whole time, the question is like, who's gonna get left behind? Like, I knew something bad was gonna happen. I just didn't know if Echo and Hunter are gonna be stuck together and they're gonna be on their own, or what's gonna happen. But Tech, he pulls up, and Echo jumps on, and they immediately start getting shot again, and he has to pull away, and Hunter falls down, and you think it looks like, oh, he's gonna just fall into the door opening, and he hits
Bro,
the
this
bottom.
this man had a cheat code
Yes, he did.
for his fall damage because, dude, he got wrecked. Oh, we forgot to mention that there was a clone commando when they were up on the cliff when Echo and Hunter were waiting to be picked up. The clone commando tried to overwhelm them, and they like got him in a headlock. And then as the other clones were shooting, they threw him out into the middle of the opening, and he got shot like 6 or 7 times. He got yeeted straight off the side of the cliff. So
Yeah,
that was
and
sad.
so, yeah. Well, I'm not as sad anymore because even though it's a clone and I feel bad, like, it's basically the Empire now, and we can't really have compassion for these.
Says the man who wrote a fan fiction about them saving clones.
Yeah, because that's the whole point. But now they're beyond.
No, you just remove their chips.
Yeah, but in the moment you can say, "Hey, let's get you to a med bay," and
You
Thank
knock
you.
them out and take them with you.
you're right. I apologize. Your logic is undeniable, as
Thank you.
as Agent Callus would say to Thrawn. So
Thank you.
I'm equating you to Thrawn, if that's.
That's a compliment.
Ooh, that is of the highest compliments.
But yeah. So Hunter, he is unable to grab onto the stairs, and he just falls all the way down. And so he goes through trees and through rocks, and he tries to use his knife to stop himself falling down from a rock, but that didn't work. And he falls and falls and falls, and he hits the ground. And so he gets surrounded. A couple, I think it was just 1 or 2 lats or whatever lands, and then we got a bunch of troopers with Tuscan dogs, whatever. What did you call them?
Tuscan puppies or
Tuscan puppies.
Pups.
Tuscan
Tuscan
pups.
pups. But they have a
Tuscan
real
pups.
name. We already found out the real name.
Malice.
Massive.
Massives.
Massive. To play on the dog breed Mastiff, I'm assuming.
Probably.
Maybe.
But yes, he gets overwhelmed, and so he surrounded, and so he knows that he can't be rescued because he looks up, and I thought it was a great shot, looking up and seeing through the trees, like the chase.
Well, because they got hit again. The Havoc Marauder got hit a second time, and it like overloaded Gonki, and he's gone.
Got shocked.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So technically, Gonk failed.
technically,
didn't.
Klink's still alive.
He saved the day. He didn't fail. He saved the day. Like
Well, he's still
He-
dead.
David
he-
said he's
we don't
dead.
know that he's dead.
David
whoa,
said-
whoa.
David said he's dead in the chat, so maybe.
I mean, he got fried, dude.
he just got a little
But-
tickle. Like it's
but-
not the.
but then
Ah,
again,
didn't
we've
seem like a little
s-
tickle.
We've
That
seen
seemed like sticking a
Gonks
fork
get
into a power
burned.
outlet.
We've seen Gonks get burned before, so he'll probably come back from it.
Maybe
He'll be back.
All I
Actually, we've seen
know-
R2D2 get shocked like that, haven't we?
once or twice.
And for sure we've seen.
They're actually lucky because the Gonks are technically a power core, and if that had overloaded him,
could have blew up.
they would have been all would have been gone. But anyway, so
True.
they got shot again, and basically it came down to like there's no way they would have been able to do the maneuvers to outrun the V-wings to get Hunter and still escape. So Hunter was like, "You guys need to go. Like you can't get me now. I'm surrounded. You have to go." And then there's this moment where Omega
Is-
she's like yelling into the comm. It's
Yeah.
actually kind of heartbreaking. I looked over at my
Yeah.
wife, and my wife was just like, she had like this huge frown on her face. It's like, I wasn't expecting this to hit this hard, but here we
Yeah,
are.
it was very emotional at that moment. He's like, "You gotta go. Like you have to go," and they go, and he's just there by himself, and he has his blade in his hand because I think it was just left over from when he was trying to stop stuff. But he puts his blade back in his
Holster.
sheath.
Sheath.
Correct.
And so
Which earlier, Jeremiah, you said he was throwing around a tool. It was actually his blade, his knife that he was playing with.
oh, was it?
Yeah, like
Oh.
way back.
All right.
But-
And so Hunter then gets captured, and the rest of the Bad Batch and Gregor, they escape.
And then we've got that sick Star Wars style rotary wipe.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that scene change? It had the rotary style wipe.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like classic
Star
prequels.
Wars. Mhm.
Yeah. It went straight to Camino.
Yep. So we went back to Camino, and Rampart is talking to Lama Su and saying, accused him of breaking their deal or something like that, which I'm not sure what was.
That his deal was that he would be compliant
Correct.
and be willing to do whatever the Empire wanted him to do.
But what was?
Which-
What did he do that wasn't compliant?
Well, he instructed
he ins-
Nala Su
To pack her bags and
and get some of the scientists,
some
like
of the stuff.
like the critical people, like the core group of people, and get them ready to flee the planet.
yeah.
And she got caught doing
Yep.
that. And so that's why they brought her before the prime minister,
Right, but like, so how is that like?
because they
were trying to run away
yeah
from the
'cause-
Empire because they knew that the Empire was going to make them do whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
And they didn't have a choice anymore.
yeah, that like
So,
they weren't supposed to be leaving Camino
because
until they
like
were told.
like she said earlier in the episode, well, the Empire broke their treaty with them, but she was like, but we're really good at our job, so it doesn't really matter. Like someone else will hire us to create clones because our technology and stuff is far advanced, and they're going to be able to do that. So they weren't worried about it. So that's why he said, okay, let's leave and get out. But by doing that, then that's a threat to the Empire, and that's why the Empire wanted them not to do that, essentially.
So I guess I didn't realize that they weren't allowed to leave Camino.
Yeah, I mean,
It was an imperial occupation at that point,
yeah.
like straight up.
So, Nala Se is then taken in by the elite squad members, I believe it was, and Rampart's like, we have a scientist that we could use your talents for the Empire, so you're good. And then he says, we have no use for Lama Su, and so
He says a politician. He's like,
Yeah, we have no use.
We can use a scientist, but we have no use for a politician.
Mhm.
And he's like, you're of no use to us anymore, and
Yeah.
walks away.
And the door
So-
shut with two of those troopers. in
which
there.
is, I'm surprised So I feel like it's implied that Nala or Lamasu was killed,
Correct.
but like, why didn't we hear the gunshots? Like,
I don't know.
like we didn't see it, so like maybe he's still
Maybe
alive.
My
he.
question is, why would they not kill him? Like,
No,
what's
I
the
think
use
it's
of leaving him
implied
alive?
that he's killing him now. What if he knows some kung fu and beats their butts, and then the next episode, it shows that scene and he escapes? And
I think he's gone.
I think he's dead, but
I think he's dead.
I just don't understand why we didn't hear the gunshots
yeah,
behind it.
Maybe they have
it was
thick
kind of
boards.
weird because I thought when I was watching it with Watch Party, like I thought I missed the sound, and I asked Andrew like, did they kill him? And then Andrew said it's implied. So
It's like they're okay with
burning
flamethrower
people
burning people alive on screen, but
and hearing it,
you can't
but
go pew pew like in the background
Pow, pow.
noise. Like whatever. I thought it was just a minor detail that they could have been more clear about, but
yeah,
but the final scene is Hunter in a cell, and Crosshair walks up to the cell. He's like, he was expecting the whole squad, but only you will do. Like it was kind of reminiscent of Maul. Like, why are you here? I was expecting Kenobi. Like,
but I guess you
something-
will do. Yeah,
like it's kind of similar to that. Now, so this is the one plot issue I had with this episode was we were expecting Crosshair to track down the Bad Batch.
but he
And
didn't have to.
He didn't have to. We didn't see anything like that. And it's almost like now that he has Hunter, he's just going to wait for the Bad Batch to come to him to rescue Hunter. And so, and now he could, like, maybe, he could, get information somehow, like, through torture and figure out where they are and then lead a squad of TK troopers to, like, Ord Mantell or something like that, which would, it'd still be him hunting them down. But I feel like it's not going to be. I feel like the last 2 episodes are going to take place on this planet Darrow and, go from there.
Unless they
back and forth.
transport him somewhere else.
Like, are we assuming that scene was on Darrow still, or do you think?
Yes, it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
same cell, like the same.
Well, the Empire's kind of like it's all the same, like uniform cells
True.
wherever they go. So I think it's implied it's on the planet, but I just wonder if.
So that's
But,
like the big cliffhanger at the end of it was Crosshair saying that. Are we ready to get into speculations?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I don't know if this is right. I'm leaning towards this not, but I think it would be really cool if he said you'll do, and then he straight up says, "Now let's go get our friends."
Oh,
You don't think that would be
Well,
cool?
my question is, in defense of what Drew is saying, why would he lower the barrier?
he didn't lower the barrier.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
Yeah, he did. Dude, straight up lowers the barrier
walks
and
in.
then take. Well, he doesn't walk in.
Well, but
he lowers the barrier and then takes off his helmet.
hmm
Why does he do that?
I did not see that.
100%
yep, he did.
guaranteed. Or your
Okay.
money back.
And that's why I was like, it'd be interesting if,
I'd be
He knows
really
what
mad if
Hunter's
that-
capable of.
But what-
like?
because the thing is
Why
like,
would you risk that?
But also, Jeremiah, why would you be mad? Like, what if his whole time he was planning, like, because he hurt his head, like, let's say the chip's not working, and he's trying to get his friends back in a sense of like, now let's go take down the other dude.
Because it's a direction that they're not implying with the whole season. Like the whole season is Crosshair is a bad guy now.
Yes, but
If they just randomly say, okay, he's good now, like that would be stupid. That would be one of the worst things that they could do in the
really,
show.
I don't
Yes.
think so. I think it would be a cool twist.
Now, if Hunter,
Talked him into it.
No, he takes him down and then brings him to the medical bay and removes his chip, then that's a whole different story because that's something that is earned. But just for the whole series, we were expecting him to be a bad guy,
Okay, but what if?
and there's no conflict. Like that's
What if
stupid.
since he got his head turned into a crispy boy, he's been plotting
Yeah, that's what I'm
A
saying.
destruction of the
Okay.
world, like an attempted destruction, and then we get that backstory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if this?
He's
I'm
like, I've actually been doing stuff behind their backs this whole time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
what if like they bring us to that like his point of view from that scene on, and it's like his head hurting, all this stuff is happening, and we haven't seen it, and then it brings us to this scene of this happening, and then they go and try to. I think it would be really cool. I don't think it's actually gonna happen,
because-
Jeremiah.
Yeah,
I
but what they
think
would have to do is they would have to spend episode 15 telling that whole entire backstory.
yeah, that's
and then
fair.
we get to the finale, which is it'll be stupid. Like it'll be a cut in momentum, and like if they showed that backstory throughout the season happening, then it would be more believable and it was something we could hope for Crosshair as we're getting to this point. But like I wouldn't want them to, like I said, like bring us 14 episodes in.
Yeah,
And then the next in episode 15 is just a backstory of how Crosshair was never a bad guy. Like he was just always planned to be like this good guy and never was a threat to the Bad Batch or anything. Like
Well, I mean, that
well,
doesn't change
I don't
that
think-
he was a threat.
no, I don't. He's been a threat
but
the entire time.
He wasn't really a threat. Really, we see him on Braca as a bad guy for like one episode.
I mean, he's been a threat the entire time. I think, as much as we know that he's a threat, we also could get.
I mean, again, I don't think it's going to be a thing.
I don't think it's
but-
gonna happen, but I think I don't doubt Dave Filoni and his writing skills and his vision. And so if that happened, let's just say it happened, I know Dave Filoni is gonna produce it in the best way possible, and I would not be disappointed if they went something like that. Now I don't think it's going to
I
happen.
don't know why he
but
took the barrier down. That
So-
doesn't make any sense. to me.
because Hunter wasn't like cuffed.
Well,
No,
unless like
and he
he's
still had
not
his
there by
he still had his
himself.
knife. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, he might not be there by himself. Like there could be like a bunch of troopers behind him,
Yeah.
and you have to open the cell in order to take him for any torture or
That's true.
to
That's true.
do any experiments or whatever they're gonna do to him. Like
Yeah.
so.
So, yeah, I just think it would be a kind of a cool twist.
Because Crosshair does say something like I was expecting all of you, but you will do. Like he has a purpose for him, like not to like rescue, like because why would he want all of them there? Like
The more the merrier.
to do what then?
To help
Destroy
to take
Admiral
him.
Rampart.
Yeah. Because I think
You think
what.
that's his whole thing is to like
Oh no, I'm saying if this is that situation, I,
I mean, I'm just
think
playing
the
devil's
bigger
advocate.
the bigger bad threat is Admiral Rampart than it is Crosshair. And I think we're looking past that because Crosshair has such a big relationship with the Bad Batch that in our eyes, that's the biggest threat because they have a personal relationship. And like our whole vision in this show is like, is he gonna go back with the Bad Batch? Like, is he gonna get saved at the end? Like, how is this gonna turn out? Is he gonna sacrifice himself last minute and save the Bad Batch and we see him and he's gonna die? But like, the bigger bad is not Crosshair, and we need to like focus. Like, it's Admiral Rampart. Like, he is the big bad, and I think we're kind of looking past that. And I think that would be a way for us to get our eyes back on that. Also, if that is the case and this is the route they're going, this might be really aggressive, but I don't think there'll be any more Bad Batch show. I think they're going to go a route with Rex. I think Rex is going to have his own show. So if that's the case and they do that, they destroy Admiral Rampart and Bad Batch flees, then I think Rex is going to have his own show, and I don't think we're going to have more Bad Batch. I think that's like the show.
which I think is
It's possible.
plausible. The thing is, if they were to do that, then either all the Bad Batch have to die, You have to-
Or just flee and just work undercover forever.
So they're just gonna leave that open ended for all the Star Wars fans, like, oh
Well,
yeah, like
no,
here's
not-
one season,
I
we're never
mean,
gonna see him again.
No,
like,
we'll see them in the Rex show. Like we would see them all the time, but they just wouldn't
I,
be
th-
like.
I think there'll be a season 2.
I think Omega is too
Yeah.
key. Like,
Maybe.
Yeah.
if
That's fair.
Omega wasn't in it, I could see that maybe, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Omega's
I
story
just
is
spent-
going to.
A few minutes thinking about it. And I see what
Yeah.
you're saying, but
Because
I
like
just- I
when
don't
we
think we're gonna
first saw
get-
the Bad Batch, did we ever think we were gonna get a Bad Batch show?
no. But there was
No.
closure.
Was there though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a 4-episode arc. Like,
True,
and then
but-
they just flew away. Like they ended it in a way that if we had never gotten the show, they would, like, sweet, Echo joined, they're fine.
True.
They're off to see the wizard, you know.
But it's not to say that
What the heck? What's that?
this is
know
not
why.
the
I don't know
Wizard
why I
of
made a
Oz,
I don't know why I
but
made that
okay.
reference.
But like I just we could get a closing of this too. But I do see your point though about Omega is really and people are falling in love with her. So maybe Dave Filoni's first vision wasn't that, but we could get them another season because of just Omega, because of how much people love her now. So that is
Yeah.
fair.
But I do think we're gonna get more Rex storylines though. Even if it's whether it's they're done with the Bad Batch and they go to Rex, or if they have an own spin-off with Rex,
Yeah.
I think we're going to get, because the way
Or-
they're setting up what he's doing, like he's doing a lot,
Yeah.
and I feel like they're gonna shed some light on that somehow.
It could be like Maz Kanata.
Oh gosh,
Oh jeez.
Oof, big oof.
that was one of the worst parts of that whole movie, was when she's like fighting like some war by herself and like doing flips and stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I was excited. Whatever. This isn't our.
We're not-
anti-
We're not talking about that.
No.
But yeah, it'd be interesting. Also, did anyone else thinks that someone needs to tell Rex that that cloak makes him look fat? Anyone else?
It makes his shoulders look really broad.
So big. Like,
It's
Maybe
like
maybe he had on different armor.
but he
clone,
didn't.
clone
Be,
commando armor.
Maybe.
it'd be cool,
Big.
but it also made him look big too when we first saw it,
Yeah,
and they
that is
took it off and he looked fine.
That's true.
But when he first, they like draw him to look a little.
Maybe he has like Vegeta shoulder pads.
Yeah,
True. That's a
Or just
deep
a nice
cut.
pair of 80s shoulder pads under there.
Uh,
Maybe a nice pantsuit.
He does look like from Assassin's Creed. Yeah, you're right.
Pet.
Oh,
Pet
yeah.
Rock.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just my take. I think it would be really cool if they went that route. I have very low expectations. Like, I don't think that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
But that is the speculation that I want to go with. And if I call it, I called it. And it'd be
Yeah,
cool.
You get 10 points.
And also,
Only
I think
10?
we're gonna get the story at some point how Rex, Gregor, and Wolf end up on that desert planet.
I do
Sure.
think, Jeremiah, that if there is more season of the Bad Batch, the next cartoon show that Disney is gonna put out is probably gonna be Rex, like a Rex show.
X's and O's.
No,
No,
no. Tic tac toe.
You know, it could be, if everyone dies except for Tech, it could be Tech and Rex, and they could call it T-Rex.
Anyways, any predictions for you guys?
No,
Nah.
I think it's gonna be the rest of the Bad Batch is gonna go back to Darrow and try and break
Them out.
break them out.
Inevitably, yeah.
And I feel like at least one Bad Batch member is going to die.
But not until the last episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, pick one. Pick one right now. Who do
No,
you
I'm
think's
not ready
gonna-
for that.
If any of them,
I'll pick one next week.
I think Hunter could die, and Crosshairs will probably die. If Crosshair dies, it's gonna be like he's saved,
sacrificing,
and then he
himself.
sacrifices right at the end. But
I think if
Hunter could die.
anyone dies, I think it's gonna be Wrecker. and Omega's gonna lose it.
Let me tell you something.
And then Omega's
They-
gonna show the Force that she
Yeah,
has.
and she's gonna
doesn't
turn to the
have
dark side.
Oh my god.
She has the Force, and she's gonna put her over the edge. She's gonna turn to the dark
And
side.
then her and Jar Jar are gonna be the next.
Yep. So her and Jar Jar become Sith Lords, but then the TVA shows up and erases them.
Oh wow! What?
Boo.
Okay, that ruined it for me. You had it all the way up to the TV, but anyways, yeah, I loved it. Let's rate it. We haven't rated yet this episode.
I have.
Did you?
Yeah,
9.2.
9.2.
I'm gonna give it a 9 only because
The
I
next two
didn't like
episodes.
that. No, because I didn't like that Crosshair didn't go and hunt them down.
Okay.
Well, because that's like a change. We were expecting one
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
completely flipped it on us. So
Well, it's just because something different happened in the universe.
yeah, so
He was gearing up to go hunt him down, and all of a sudden one of them drops into his
Or
lap.
he's planning something
yeah, and
else.
that convenience
Or he's
dropped
planning
the score down to a
something else.
9. It would have been a solid 9.53.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5 just because I loved it. I love seeing Rex a little bit as much as we did. I loved it. I love that they're tying in more of Rebels with who they rescued. I think it's a really good story. I think this should have been last episode, and I wanted 3 episodes of their interaction, but I guess we'll get 2. I think the cliffhanger at the end was really cool and really fun, and it leaves a lot open, and I love when they do that. So I am pumped.
Sweet.
All right. Well,
All right. Well, if you would like to keep up with us when we're not recording these episodes or you're not listening to these episodes, there are actually many ways you can do that. I'm going to list them off really quickly here: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.tv, Discord. A little bit more far removed, but voicemail. You can leave us a voicemail if you want to. I'll explain that in a second. All of those things, instead of listing out all of our handles and all of our links, if you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, which even if you watch the video versions, you should still listen to the audio version. Go to the description. Right underneath that, there's a link. It says connect with us, and it's links.co/Empire Radio. If you click that link, which also happens to be found in our Instagram bio and in the About Us section on our Twitch page, it is a landing page that contains links to all of our social media accounts. So you can go, you open that, click on the little icons for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and just go start following us and liking us wherever you can. That would be super helpful. Twitch.tv/Empire Radio is the place that we live stream the recordings of these episodes with video included. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and every Friday, as long as the Bad Batch is running, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern as well. And that's twitch.tv/Empire Radio. And for sure, if you're going to do one of those things, make sure you click the link in that landing page to join our Discord server, because that's where you can have direct contact with us, talk to us about the show, talk to us about Star Wars, as well as a pretty rapidly growing community of like over 100 people. So it's a party. It's crazy, but in a good way. You're definitely not going to want to miss that. And like I said, there is a way for you to leave a voicemail up to 1 minute. You can ask us anything you would like, Star Wars related or not. It could be a personal question for one of the 3 of us or all 3, whatever. Or if you have a question and you don't want your voice heard on air, because we do listen to the voicemails and respond to them live on air on Tuesdays at the end of the episodes.
well,
That's
you
okay.
listen. No, me and Jeremiah don't actually.
Well, that's true.
listen to
I have to listen because I get the audio ready. But if you want to leave us a voicemail, leave a question, you don't want your voice played on air, that's totally fine. We'll do that too, and we'll just answer your question. So if you're scared, don't be. That's all I'm going to say. Leave your questions. We'd love to hear from you. It's one of my personal favorite things that I do every week.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah. So there you go. Make sure you go connect with us.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
Anything else, boys?
Nope.
No.
All right. So you have been listening to another tight episode of Empire Radio.
Oof.
I'm Jeremiah,
I'm Drew.
I'm Andrew.
and may the force be with you.
Always.